Africa, the cradle of humanity, has often been the stage of unfair exploitation, dictated by external interests. Today, we find ourselves in a decisive turn where the need to reevaluate these historical patterns and to promote a fair partnership is necessary, with an unprecedented urgency.
The military regime in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, it has now turned to a democratic elected president and the government of Senegal. That the French government has been expelled from their country. The military base has been expelled, and the prime minister of the state of Senegal have now asked the French to move out of their country. Let's not forget that since colonialism came to an end, technically 60 years or more ago, the West Africa or African nation have not been liberated economically. Even when you understand that to get a political power, you need the economic power. And that can be seen from the policies that is being given to African nations. And that is the reason why the IMF and the World Bank continue to give those African leaders some kind of loans, and you see them giving them predictions and all of that. And when they adhere to those advices, at the end of the day, you will see what happened, and then they implement those things and the country go down economically. When they do such, they put the country in this angle of always begging and looking for help from those European counterparts. From that now they can determine who remain in power and who now govern those nations. And that is the reason why the resources in Africa, especially the Francophone countries, have not been utilized for the development of those countries. And now that the newly elected president fired in Senegal, and the prime minister, who suffered immensely from the past administration, went to jail, then came out to become the president of the nation. You don't even expect them to allow the French government to remain in their territory. It's not going to happen. And that which just happened a few days ago, when they now announced that the French government has been expelled from their country. Don't forget that Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso has once expelled the military base of those countries from their state, as well as change the currency in order for them to face the development that they needed in their country. But not to speak much, let's take a look at what the Prime Minister of Senegal said.
We have talked about the future of relations between Europe and Africa, but we must hear more specifically about the relations between France and Africa and between France and Senegal. The links that unite our continents are made up of a complex history, shaped by stories intertwined with suffering and aspiration. It is very difficult to talk about the future without making a few incursions into a past that is not necessarily reliable. Africa, the cradle of humanity, has often been the stage of unfair exploitation, dictated by external interests. Today, we find ourselves in a decisive turn where the need to reevaluate these historical patterns and to promote a fair partnership is necessary, with an unprecedented urgency. Legitimate aspirations of each nation for sovereignty and sustainable development. I would like to salute the distinguished presence of this delegation from France, Insoumise, under your leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the architects of our common destiny. The truth is that many European and singularly French are uncomfortable with our sovereignist and have set themselves as the objective of the intervention. This is what certainly is the violent persecution of the regime of President Macky Sall against our political party and its members.
Le président Macron, je voulais dire cher Jean-Luc, ce tableau semble assez sombre.
Mr. President Macron, I would say, dear Jean-Luc, this picture seems quite dark. I say this because during the whole period of persecution, extremely violent against a whole political movement in Senegal, which caused the death of more than 60 people, thousands of injured, more than 1,000 political prisoners. You have never heard the French government denounce what happened in Senegal. Why should political problems in Africa be solved by the Africans by attacking brotherly countries and their populations above all? We cannot accept it. And it is to protect our Sahel brothers. And we will do everything we can to close the links and bring them our solidarity.
So in all of this, what do you make of the decision of the Prime Minister of Senegal, as well as the Sahel nations in West Africa? Do you think that they are going in the right direction? Do you believe that there is every iota of recognition of Africa, of which I have been talking about because of some of the policies and the behavior of the West recently in Africa, should showcase that Africa will be recognized maybe very, very soon if care is not taken by our leaders? Let's have this conversation in the comment section. Thank you for watching.